Our next speaker is Professor Lawrence Molenkamp from University of Würzburg. Those of you who are here in the daytime already heard his talk. Lawrence is an experimentalist who is well known for semiconductor structures and topological insulators. And in 2007, Lawrence's group realized the quantum spin Hall effect in the mercury telluride, cadmium telluride quantum well, which is the first quantum spin Hall material, and that really declared the beginning of this new era of topological states. And as Lawrence told you in his talk this morning, we learned that his discussion with Shoucheng also played a very important role in the theoretical proposal of mercury telluride. And he shared. He had many awards, and among them there's quite a few awards that he shared with Shoucheng, such as the Berkeley Prize, which I showed in my talk, and the Physics Frontiers Prize in 2013, and the 2010 Europhysics Prize, and many others.
Yeah, thanks, Shoucheng. I'm going to take this a bit wider than just my own connections with Shoucheng. Shoucheng had a very special bond with Würzburg, where I'm at. This, I guess, kind of happened by chance, but it was a very strong bond, and actually he collaborated with at least 4 persons on our faculty, which culminated 2.5 years ago in Shoucheng becoming honorary doctor at the university. So I'm showing a bit of how these things came to be, and of course a bit about my own interactions with him. This is a slide I got from Werner Hanke, and Barbara may recognize it. Werner Hanke is a theorist in our department who actually started working with Shoucheng mid-90s, and this was this SO5 theory of superconductivity time, and yeah, so Werner is somebody who was very much into symmetries, and of course Shoucheng certainly was that, and this is the slide that actually Werner gave me to show you. It characterizes Shoucheng very strongly, and somehow it also shows a bit about Stanford being symmetric and everything. And so these things went on in the 90s and early 2000s. Actually, they culminated in this Refbot-Vis paper, which actually was already shown 1 or 2 times yesterday or today. Basically, codifying the results of this long-standing collaboration with Werner Hanke. So this is 2004. This is just 1 year before I, by chance, also ran into Shoucheng and started collaborating on very different issues. But yeah, this is what actually started the bond. So Werner asked me to show a few more pictures. He couldn't be here this week because of family reasons. So these are some slides of his remembrance of those days. This is the house that Shoucheng built. And he was very proud of it, as you can see. And this is the topic of the collaboration that Shoucheng and Werner entertained for something like 10 years. This was really, I guess, when it was really starting to be built, right? That's the impression I got, and he's really a very proud house owner. And so your connections actually with Werner and his wife continued over the years, and this is one of the pictures. Again, this is exemplifying symmetry, which we also have in Würzburg, not just in Stanford. Well, there's a symmetry also here. and this is like a thank you from Werner to you for the good friendship over all these years. So my own interactions with Shoucheng actually started, I already talked a bit about this morning, in Korea in 2005, and this was organized by Harushi Nova, one of Alan's old postdocs. So this was the connection with Alan MacDonald. So we were a bunch of guys working on spin-orbit effects in semiconductor spintronics, which was alive still in those days. And we were looking at the kind of things that you could do with spin-orbit coupling to create new functionalities. And there was this meeting in POSTECH, Pohang University of Science and Technology. And at the time, I didn't know Shoucheng, but somehow I got seated opposite to Shoucheng at the dinner. But this was actually carefully planned by Garo, the organizer of the meeting. So basically, we started talking about mercury telluride. And so that's where this whole thing got going. You can see there's lots of people here that actually, like this person here who's also present. And so there's many people from those days who are still collaborating with Shoucheng and with me. And this community actually was one of the important factors, at least for me, in getting all of this topological stuff done in an experimental fashion. So this was 2005. I remember Shoucheng made a very strong impression on me, especially by eating the fish head after the meal, after carefully asking whether anybody else was interested. But actually this characterized a lot of my experience with Shoucheng. So we've been having a lot of interesting dinners, and he really showed me what good Chinese cuisine is. He really had a good taste in that. Okay, so that was 2005. We've been talking already about these papers by Kane and Melle and what they could mean, and whether mercury telluride could have something to do with it. So the next meeting where we really got talking about these issues was in May 2006. And this is where we really tried to get things going, where we exchanged some material, PhD thesis on mercury telluride, talking about the surface states that you have there, and whether they could have anything to do with these topological effects, these quantum spin Hall oscillator effects that I predicted. And that's how our collaboration really got started. Like I said this morning, story has it that this happened on the flight back when Shoucheng was reading the thesis, and that's where everything fell together. And a week later, I had an email from him, yeah, we should do this. This is the way we have to go ahead. And we already started working on actually the experimental realization very fast. And well, this boomed. And for me, this actually resulted in many meetings with theoreticians. So the first people who picked up that this was something big were theoreticians. So I ended up in workshops all over the world, which was very nice, and I was the only experimentalist, which was interesting. One of them was a very nice one in Kyoto. You can see this was the right time of year. The leaves were turning. It was a fantastic meeting. Yeah, so this was the early days of topology. And so we intensified our collaboration. This is a slide that many of you may know. This is another one that I stole from Shoucheng. This is how he actually taught me he could sell things to the funding agencies about topological insulators. So this is then how chips function these days. And this is the German Autobahn. This is how the quantum spin Hall effect would make things work better in the future. And this actually helped us to get a lot of funding. So we had these DARPA projects together, which of course is one of the big things you do these things. But yeah, so I learned a lot from that actually. Yeah, this we've already seen. This is the Buckley Prize. A couple of years later, when all these things came. 1 year later, Frontier Physics Prize. I've got a bunch of pictures that Barbara may not have, but if you're interested, I can give you a lot of them. So this is the three of us, and this is Shoucheng having a talk at the Frontier Physics Prize. And then already I'm jumping to 2016, where we figured that Würzburg didn't have a honorary doctor in physics for many, many years. But well, I got together with Werner and we really thought, well, it's about time we do this. And actually, the university was very much agreeing. All of our colleagues were agreeing. So this was 2016, and you see some people already present here as well, and including Evelina and Ronnie, who already were collaborating with Shoucheng at the time. So there were 4 of us at the time having very strong connections with Shoucheng's group here in Stanford. This is just a nice picture that I found in the files that I went through. It's a very good one. I mean, this exemplifies the relation that existed. And then 2016 was also for me a milestone. I turned 60. So we had this, we had a conference, and we had one day of the conference in the residence, so this is a very fancy surroundings. And I had a lot of friends come over and give lectures there. Shoucheng was one of them, and these are the pictures I found from those days. And then I'm already in 2018. Well, there were some more pictures, but this is the last time I really spoke extensively with Shoucheng. This was in Erice. Erice is a place where Shoucheng went very, very well, happily, also pretty often. For those of you who don't know Erice, it's a place which has these summer events, which were starting to a large extent in particle physics, but for the past years this was also in more condensed matter physics-like settings. So this is not the best picture I have of Shoucheng, but it gives me these memories because, yeah, at that week we actually spent some evenings together, and a lot of the things that I showed you this morning actually were discussed extensively in the impact that this type of physics of the quantum spin Hall stuff and how going back into that and looking for the details we still to figure out should be pursued. So these are the memories I have of this nice time in Erice. And I'm already at the end. I mean, I have such great memories of Shoucheng. I can only be grateful. I don't understand why it had to end this way, but I think nobody of us does. But I'm very grateful for the time we had.